It's time for the Cleveland Guardians preview. Hope y'all are doing great. I have a soft spot for the Guardians just because I live up here now near the Cleveland area. And it's cool to see people get excited for baseball, to see people wearing Guardians gear, and they seem like nice fans. So let me know if you're a Guardians fan down below. Great season last year under Stephen Vogt. I think his Coach of the Year award was well deserved. Them going far, unfortunately, just couldn't get the job done. But it's against the Yankees, no shame in that. Went farther than a lot of our teams. Look, it was a tough offseason for them. I don't feel as if they did a great job. Just going to be honest. There were some things that I think they could have done better or held out on, but they still have their guys, right? And if you got your guys, you're going to be a good team in my eyes. And it seems like there's a chemistry in Cleveland that, is just meshing well. They've had a few good years now, like building towards something, and hopefully they can rebound. Obviously, I was probably cheering for the Cubs at the time, but that 2016 World Series was devastating if you're a Guardians fan. Couldn't imagine blowing a 3-0 lead, or a 3-1 lead, excuse me. But they're trying to get over that, trying to get over the hump and win the championship, win the World Series in an open AL where anything is possible. But they're playing in a tough AL Central, so who knows? Their offseason additions, they got Luis L. Ortiz. They got him in the deal that they made to deal away Andres Jimenez. Interesting choice. I'll talk more about that in a second, but Ortiz projects as like their number 3 starter. I don't know too much about him. That's something I might do a separate video on if he performs. But he'll slot in nicely. From what I've seen, solid big league arm. Young. So I'll talk a little bit about the Andres Jimenez trade now. Andres Jimenez, they gave him away. And I'm conflicted because I like Andres Jimenez as a player, right? Gold Glove second baseman, excuse me. Guy that's going to give you a lot of WAR, guy who is going to make good contact. I'm a fan of the good contact guys, but it is fitting to recognize some of Jimenez's limitations as a soft contact guy. That it requires a little bit of luck. Same with the Gold Glove defense at second base. I mean, that's cool and all, but kind of reminds me of like the Colton Wong days. Colton Wong was a really good player, but was Colton Wong really worth? I think they were paying him in the hundreds of millions of dollars for a very long-term contract with Jimenez. So on one hand, I'm happy that they were able to part ways with him. But at the same time, that's a guy in your lineup who gave you 4 WAR last year. And I probably would have wanted to get Spencer Horwitz back instead of Luis Ortiz. Just my opinion, though. They also traded away Josh Naylor. Trade that I don't like, really. I know they're trying to open up the door for Santana to play first, and Naylor might have been coming up on an extension or whatnot, but I'm just not a big fan of trading away the Josh Naylor, Bo Naylor combination, especially after Josh had a good year last year. But I get it, I guess. It's probably not going to be that big of a deal, but I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of just trading away dudes if there's not really a purpose for it. And Slade Ciccone doesn't really project to be a guy that's going to really be a big factor in the Guardians season. So, nor is he a top prospect. So, I don't know. Personally, I would prefer Josh Naylor to Carlos Santana, but we'll talk about that in a second. Losing James Karinchak, Obviously, they lost him to a minor league contract, so they chose to let him go. It just shows the fickleness of Major League Baseball. I thought that James Karinchak was going to be a stud as a closer or as a bullpen piece, but kind of fell off a little bit. Like, this is my first time really. I was really surprised to see that Karinchak was on a minor league deal with the White Sox, after the year run that he had a few years ago. And then Alex Cobb and Matthew Boyd, I'm cool with letting them go. They're older arms who, in my opinion, both got overpaid by the Cubs and by the Giants. But good for them. Go get your bag. But I'm cool with losing them. So if I had to grade this offseason, I'd probably grade it maybe like a C+. It's just nothing really notable to me. And you do get worse in the short term, I think. Bringing in Carlos Santana for his third stint. I know Carlos Santana had a really good year with the Twins last year, and I'm not trying to hate because he's a legend of the game. Obviously a Guardians legend, Indians Guardians legend. But I just don't know. He's 38. I'm not sure about it. And then Paul Sewald, cool, I guess. They also signed John Means. I'm cool with that signing. Nothing that's going to move the needle, I don't think. But as we'll see here, Fangraphs is really hating on the boys. Speaking of Fangraphs, thank you to them for the projections. Jose Ramirez is their MVP. Jose Ramirez might be the league MVP. He is so good year in and year out. Putting on for the short and stocky Kings out there. But no, he's freakishly athletic, got a lot of speed, plays a very good third base, and is out of this world hitting, and is just clutch. I have nothing but good things to say about J-Ram. I honestly think these projected numbers, might be a little low. And I know it's crazy saying that an 850 OPS, 5.7 WAR is low, but I think he can do more. Stephen Kwan, I'm a big Stephen Kwan guy. I'm not trying to be a traditionalist with the whole, high batting average, soft contact stuff, but Stephen Kwan, I think it's good to have a guy that just doesn't strike out in your lineup. I just think that's a cool thing to have. I don't know. Playing baseball, it might not be the same at the major league level, but there was something about a guy who was able to make contact, and like, even if he got out, like, it kind of gave everyone a boost instead of just getting mowed down at the plate a bunch of times and occasionally sprinkling in a home run. Stephen Kwan, not to mention, insane left fielder, Gold Glove caliber guy out there. Then they acquired Lane Thomas from the Nationals. He didn't really produce in his time there last year, but I think he'll bounce back. He's a solid player. These numbers are a little low for him, I think, but sticking him in center field, I'm comfortable with that. And then Santana, obviously, you never know. 38 years old, going on 39. I think he's kind of fallen off a little bit, but hey, who knows? We'll see. But the bullpen is really where they make their money. I think this is the best, maybe 1, 2, 3, and on the back end in the MLB. I'm being serious. Looking at the power rankings for Fangraphs, looking at advanced numbers, looking at just what they did last year. It's really good. They got Clase. I'll talk about. So there's Hunter Graves, who's like the 7th inning guy, theoretically. And then we got Cade Smith here. Cade Smith is a guy that I didn't pay too much attention. Kind of quietly finished 9th in the Cy Young voting last year. He was absolutely insane. I think these numbers don't do him justice, really, for how good his stuff is going into his second year. Kate Smith is really good at baseball. I know you might not know that name, but Kate Smith is good. And Emmanuel Clase is also very good, better, whatever you want to say, kind of like Duran or Yohan Duran, excuse me, where he'll throw 103, by you, like that 103 cut piece. Just insanely live arm, and it seems like it seems like he's the next great closer in the MLB. He's just insane. Best closer in major leagues, in my humble opinion. And then we got the prospects. So not a huge prospect class, but top 10 prospects are cool to have. Especially a guy like Travis Bazana. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, but I'll learn it soon enough because he's coming up. He was the number 1 pick last year. Out of Oregon State, born in Australia, power hitting, close to 5-tool, middle infielder, second baseman, really, second base. They're saying he might be up this year. I personally doubt it unless they make like a playoff run, then you might see him, but he's good enough, I think, to play on this major league team. Yeah, he's insane. That's all you need to know. Chase DeLauder is a guy out of James Madison who will be up this year. He's 23, so it's about time. I'm not saying 23 years old, but I'm just saying in MLB years as a first-round pick. A guy that has a lot of power. Not the fastest guy, but power-hitting outfielder. 36th, pretty good. And I got Angel Genao, who is a guy I'd never heard of before. A guy who you won't see for a couple years. But he's a toolsy middle infield guy, 62nd ranked prospect. But definitely expect to see DeLauder. Kyle Manzardo is coming off his rookie year. He'll be in the lineup. Brian Rocchio, another young guy, will probably hit 9th, play some shortstop. But Fangraphs does not like this team. Fangraphs says that they will not have a successful season, going 77-85. We kind of disagree with that. That seems a little much. Going from 92 wins to 75 wins, it's a 15 win swing. We think it's going to be definitely a little bit of a swing. But in J-Ram, you trust, right? J-Ram trusts Stephen Kwan, the pitching. It's going to be enough to put them in contention to win the AL Central. Let us know. Do you think the Guardians will win the AL Central, or will another team come in, swoop their playoff spot, and they will be left out of the race?